YouTube. This is the 4th video. So, hey. I'm sorry I didn't make a video last week. It was actually my 24th birthday, so hey! Now that we're back from all the partying and the festivities, it's about time I make my 4th video. And since this is design chat, I figured that my 4th video should actually cover design. You know, I've gone about different topics, different forms of art, but I feel it's time I start talking about my field of study, design. The first thing I kind of wanted to share was something interesting that my professor said to me a long time ago. My freshman year, I was a young pup in my first design class, and I remember the professor told us something interesting about artists having, or specifically designers, having an influence in the result of the project, therefore having an influence in the culture, essentially. She talked about how a designer could lay down their input and thus have an impact on society by what they choose and choose not to display. So here's the story. A long time ago, when she was a young designer, she was working on a movie poster. The movie depicted domestic abuse, drug use, and lots of violence. So the original idea of the poster was to have this woman tied up to a chair, seemingly brutalized by her male partner. She didn't really appreciate the poster, and she chose to get rid of it. She chose to change the idea. She was wondering whether or not she should tell them that the poster depicted violence, and that she just personally didn't believe in it, and culturally speaking, it only perpetuated a certain idea that she didn't agree with. She chose to stand up and say something to the executives that were in charge of the design decisions. She told them how it made her feel. She told them that it was violent. She told them that it brought the feminist movement back. She told them all of this stuff. There she was thinking, oh man, they're just gonna fire me now. They're just gonna say, well, you don't agree with our idea, screw you. But instead, what actually wound up happening was they agreed with her. They stopped, they listened to everything that she had said, and they said, okay, what do you suppose? That's when it hit her. And she told us the same thing. Designers, you do have an impact on what gets out there. You do have a say, and what you choose to do for your work does make a difference. Granted, it's usually some executive or some business owner who's come up to you, or even just some artist, other artist, like a musician, who came up to you and said, I want this. But if there's something you really don't agree with, or something you feel could be a real new idea, don't be afraid to speak up. You can share your idea. Don't whip down their idea and say it's absolute crap. But share. You're a specialist in your position. You know, it's your job to tell them what you know. It's your job to, you know, lay down your input. It's your job to have the designer's eye. Don't be afraid, you know? Now, granted, I didn't see the original poster that Cindy was talking about. I didn't see the original idea before the finished product, but I'm pretty certain that the changed product is probably 10 times better than what they were thinking about, honestly, from what I heard. But anyway, that's about all, YouTube. That's all I've figured I should share. Just a personal story of mine. And there is my start of talking about the designer half of Design Chat.